Greetings, my friends. Welcome to the Rebel Moon podcast. Hacking the headlines of the future so you can gain the edge. First, quick heads up about the podcast. While I'm testing this YouTube platform, it seems the longer reports can easily convert into podcast format, meaning audio only, without the pretty pictures. Although the pictures do explain a few things, the audio, some of these audios, you know exactly what we're on about. I've also been picking some brains who prefer the audio only format because they can listen to on the go as well. Now, it's also a good backup just in case I get sandboxed by YouTube, which I suspect is already happening because of the content that I'm talking about. Therefore, guys, I'm going to start posting the material back on the podcast site and then just putting it on YouTube to see how we go on. I'm going to do that for now just to test it out because we're in strange times. We have to keep doing all these split tests to find out what works and what doesn't. And also on the other side, it does allow me to post some things that we know YouTube would definitely kick up a fuss about. So those ones I will not be putting on YouTube because things that could jeopardize my new YouTube channel when it's eventually up and running, which is nothing whatsoever to do with what we're doing here. Nothing at all. It's more laid back, as I explained before. Now then, like I said, I although I do think YouTube is easing off censorship on some things that we previously banned, it's still the old COVID is taboo. The old COVID deal. It's like walking through a bloody minefield. So in other words, how are we supposed to talk to people about what they want to know when you can't say anything against the narrative? And it's all a load of old codswallop, of course. And the real reason is that I'm finding it extremely hard to tread on eggshells, my friends, and having to find roundabout ways to speak some truths that, again, are still taboo on the social media, which, as we know, is the current situation. Now, remember that the same subjects that we kept to the private podcasts in order to avoid trouble would not be allowed on YouTube, maybe even not in ordinary podcasts. So, we're not out of the woods yet. Now, I doubt many of you out there will disagree that this is no time for us to be treading on eggshells because of the bloody social media. This is not the time to be doing that, just to avoid upsetting the minority of politically correct woke little snowflakes out there who the media and government cater for. And in fact, we should take a bloody flamethrower to the whole woke shebang and start re-educating these extremely gullible and dumbed down souls. Guys, a bit of tough luck and introducing them back to reality will eventually restore them to proper human being status, because at the moment they're like zombies. It's like they can't think for themselves. And those of them who still refuse to accept human society, they'll inevitably write their own fate and destiny. And they'll eventually become social pariahs, which is what they're trying to make truth speakers now. They're trying to make us all social pariahs. Meanwhile, what for? Truth. That's all. If we're telling the truth, they come out with bullshit and they're the heroes, according to the media. And meanwhile, I see more and more naysayers are beginning to shed their initial denials. This is really good. And it's not by choice, but because they're having their eyes opened by reality now. They'll have them prized open. Don't worry, in another 2 months, very, very few people are going to be in denial of those naysayers. They're going to be starting to learn what we already know. Because at the end of the day, an ostrich can only stick its head in the sand for so long before the danger hits it physically. Oh, there's a car coming, stick my head in the sand and let it go away. And then the car runs over it. Because trying to hide from the bogeyman and hoping that it'll go away is a huge, huge mistake. and that's being made by the downtrodden masses. I mean, let's face it, they've been hiding from it for a year and a half now, and the bogeyman is still here, scaring them to death about the future. And if they don't chase the bogeyman away, then they have every right to fear the future, don't they? And whether they know it for real or not yet is another thing. But if they knew half of what you or I know, even not half, even a fraction of what we know, they would be up in arms. And sooner or later, they will cotton on. They will cotton on, or the hidden agendas will be revealed to them, as we've seen in the past. And usually, when that happens, it's too late to do anything about it. Well, it's not, but it just takes a long, long time to undo what has been done by these fools in suits. So it's kind of like the world is in chaos. So what I want to do today, guys, I want you to step above the world and look down. So to see if we can see the bigger picture in real time. Because when you do look round, the first thing you see is chaos. And it's not in this country or that country where conflicts have raged on and off for decades, but it's almost everywhere, this chaos. It is really bizarre. Like the troubles in the Middle East, they were always happening a world away to us. It was a world away. So Westerners never, they never really cared because they were always safe. And they knew that these atrocities, what they see on TV, can never happen to them on their home soil. Or can they? And why now are we seeing the whole world in chaos and confusion, instead of just a few scattered places here and there, where we know it's almost the norm? Middle East, parts of Africa, and what have you. But here it is. Maybe something I said a very long time ago could help us out here. And the difference being, back then, what I'm going to tell you was a conspiracy theory that was so out there, it bordered on madness, according to some of my detractors. But, I just give them a smile, because a lot of those I know are going to happen. Just let them have their fun and let them have their glory until the truth comes along and then teaches them a lesson. Because people tend to forget that a theory doesn't mean something that simply does not exist. That's the way it's made. Oh, it's only a theory. They diss it off right away. They forgot what theory means. And it means something that is suspected to be true based on previous information or previous facts or previous research. Therefore, a theory is there to be either proved or disapproved. But it's definitely not there to be dissed outright and ignored after. That's where this world went wrong a few years ago, by dissing everything that sounds uncomfortable to their life. Now then, fast forward to the present, and what we can see is a growing number of people have started taking notice, and, wait for this, they've started taking an interest in the world of conspiracy theories. Because they're seeing some of these things now manifesting into their reality. And they're thinking, hang on, I heard something about this a long time ago, but it's actually happening. What's going on? And this is the reality. What they're seeing now is a world of restrictions which affects them, each and every one, in one way or another. So it can't be avoided. And one thing that cannot be denied is the strange reality that they're finding themselves in now. You see, we have the edge there because none of this stuff shocks us. But they're only learning some of these conspiracy theories for the first time. They didn't even know they existed. New World Order, things like that. Because, we've gone into this world where everybody's so into this self-love thing that nothing else matters around them. It's just that they think the world revolves around them, but don't worry about them. They're in for a big wake-up call as well. Now then, it's a strange reality that we're in, that they're finding themselves in, because we have to try and understand what goes on in their heads. And it basically they find themselves in this world which going against every fibre of the human instinct in the body, and that instinct is freedom. But yet here they are in kind of a virtual imprisonment by, wait for it, consent. Consent. They have done this, as we spoke about before. They've all done it, stuck to the rules. We've all done it by consent. But here's the deal, my friends. Remember that we're looking down on the masses. We're not actually part of them at the moment. We're looking down on them as a whole. And that gives us an advantageous view to see the much bigger picture. So let's forget the man-made chaos that we're seeing down here, that's created by a handful of super elites, as they like to be called, and their publications in the mainstream media, all the lies, disinformation, puppet politicians. Just forget it, step out of it, because we want to see why they're doing this. Now I want to keep this simple for ease sakes, alright? The elites, as we know, are in the process of creating a global reset. They're quite, they're quite loud about it now. It's all creeping into the narrative. If you'd have asked them this 2-3 years ago, they would have denied everything. But, like I said, they called it New World Order then, but global reset is the same thing. So they're doing this global reset in order to create the New World Order, which they now call the new normal. And the new normal that could not be further from what we call normal, and what we have called normal for many, many generations. In fact, too many generations to count, actually. This is all new. This is like somebody wants to wave a magic wand and change all our habits overnight. Now, all this virus on lockdown hullabaloo is all part of the same agenda. And that being Agenda 21, it's all out there on the internet. They've already boasted about it a few years ago, and indeed run a simulation that's almost exactly what we are seeing and living through now. And when I say almost exactly, I mean almost exactly. Not close or similar or resembles a little bit. Almost exactly. Go out there and read it, and you'll think you're reading the future. Now, fair enough, nobody can deny the reality, right? Nobody can deny it unless they wear a suit and tie. However, politics, you know what I'm talking about. The rest of the little acolytes, they're the only ones who are in denial of reality because they have to. But I'm going to tell you something, right? Did you know why they are doing what they're doing? Because I reckon 95% of people on this planet still haven't cottoned on to the big picture yet. Now, there are 2 resets taking place. That's what they don't know. I'm going to put it in a nutshell. 2 resets taking place. Now, there's a man-made monetary one, which we can see with all this, the rollouts, the restrictions, and it's all going to be a financial mess when it's over. And so they're having to reset the whole monetary system in their favour, of course, because the bankers always need to rule the world. And but there's also a natural one that is taking place, and that's resetting the human race or the human mind. Don't forget nature. You can check your history out, my friends. You can go back into really ancient history as well, and you'll find out that no empire has ever survived. It always implodes at a point when it gets too big. Now, the thing is, it's like Mother Nature has a built-in safety valve, like a pressure cooker, which means that it will not let any one person or any one group rule the entire world and rule over everybody in the world. And anybody that thinks that is mad and insane. And we know, I don't have to mention names, you know who they are. They're there in our face telling us they're going to do this. But 95% of people don't understand and they're confused because they don't know these 2 things. And that's why they're doing this. That's why they're bringing the agenda forward. They're scared of something, and this is what they're scared of. And you can call it the age of Aquarius coming in. You can call it what you want, but it's happening, it's coming, it's happening now. This isn't a theory, this isn't conspiracy or anything. This is a natural cycle explained many times before, so I'm not going to go into it. But just have a look round, because we're seeing it happening now. Now then, it's going to be hard to swallow for some folks, but dumping the media mind poison in exchange for a little research will set them free from fear. If you know anybody, tell them that. Switch off the goggledy-box and start getting on the internet and looking for some proper things. And don't use Google either. You know, like I said, use Firefox and DuckDuckGo. It doesn't track you and you'll get more generic results. Google will give you a load of, well, gobbledygook, basically. Now then, in the metaphysical world, this is where the forces of nature meet and rule above the puny humans. Don't forget, these energies have been here since the earth was formed, way thousands, millions of years before puny humans ever set foot on this earth. Okay? And money and power mean nothing to these forces. Absolutely nothing. Diddly squat, zilch, nada, bugger all, nothing. In other words, these creatures who think they are somehow better than everybody else have finally stepped over the line into something that not only they can't handle, but something that will eventually expose and destroy them, like nature has done throughout the ages with the kinds of disruptors of life, building their silly little empires. And it's not, you know, but this other reason, the most people don't know that the bigger thing that's going on, it's not because they're stupid in any way. It's simply because they're being bombarded with lies and misinformation designed to keep them in a constant state of flux and confusion, and it's working as well. But the question is, why would our great, noble and good leaders of humanity, why would they want to do that? Why would they want to keep lying if they're guiding humanity towards a better future? We know that the so-called elite bloodlines have been suppressing knowledge for centuries, if not a millennia or two or more, probably a lot more. And it doesn't matter whether it's advanced technology, cures for almost everything, because they say every disease that can be created on Earth can be cured by nature. If it's created by nature, it can be cured by nature. There's always another plant to combat that poison or whatever it is. Man-made is a little bit different, but you'll have to ask little Billy about that, won't you? But it's not. It's like ancient knowledge as well. Forget advanced technology. It's ancient knowledge you need, because they contain secrets of life that they don't want the masses to know about. And let me put this in context, for sake of ease. Knowledge is power, right? And they don't want to share power by sharing that knowledge. And that's what they were supposed to do. But if they did share this knowledge, then it's game over for their position and power as elites. They own this knowledge, how to make all this money. And basically I won't go into it because it's quite a deep thing. But they do have secrets that you don't know about. And other things they tell you not to believe in, they're actually doing it themselves. Now, in fact, when the truth does eventually surface, as it always does, truth always surfaces. You can't bury truth forever. You can bury it for a long time, but that's the official stance. There are a lot of things now. Think of 9/11, Twin Towers. A lot of people now do believe it was an inside job. Back then they didn't. Now they do. And it doesn't matter what the official line is. A lot of people believe the opposite. So you see, truth may not be in the media, but truth is in people's minds. So, like I said, it's doubtful if the truth come out about them, a lot of them, it's doubtful they would survive in the physical sense. And that's their musings, my friend, not mine. They've said it. If the public ever found out we are goners. They'll string us up from the nearest lamppost. Damn right they will. A lot of them, there'll be nothing left of the body to string up, to be honest with you, because some of the things they've done are atrocious. I'm not going to go into them because I believe the things I don't know as well, that I don't want to know, to be honest. But what they're trying to do, they'd be trying to become gods amongst men who rule the earth with an iron fist and insane minds. That is the problem. And they shouldn't have all that money anyway, because there's an unequal distribution of wealth, isn't it? I'm going to touch on that in a minute. But he still doesn't answer a lot of questions like, why are they carrying out this agenda and why at this particular time in history? Because this is not a new thing. The name Global Reset is new, but the New World Order is not. And as we explained, that's what Europe is, the blueprint for the New World Order. And we can see that failing like mad. So that's another thing that's got them concerned. They have to push it in. Instead of just holding back, putting a few things right, they're like bringing everything forward now. You've seen that, haven't you? Right? So why are they doing it now? What's panicking them? Is it something to do with nature? We also know that this agenda, don't forget, was supposed to be completed by 2030 AD. We all know that. Then they brought it forward to 2025. Remember, they started doing that last year, didn't they? Hinting at it, but now, more this year, they're bringing it forward. And now, another date keeps popping up, doesn't it? Yep. This one interests me as well. 2022. So they brought it forward another 3 years. Right? 10 years, it's like 10 years altogether. He's crazy. Why? You don't bring these kind of agendas, you can't mess around with them. The 2030 is there for a reason, because it has to be done slowly. Breadcrumb by breadcrumb, so people don't even know really what has happened. But something's making them panic. It's 2025, right? That's 25 years early, and now they brought it another 3 years. And not only has it been brought forward, my friends, but there's definitely panic amongst the puppet leaders and political creatures of the night. And panic can cause unwanted mistakes, and we've been seeing this as well. You see, the echoes still ring in the air about small window of opportunity. They keep saying that, they're running out of time. I saw that bloody Prince Big Ears Charles, like he's going on about it again. You can see he's worried. He is very worried. It's like he knows that this window of opportunity they're talking about is a little bit too close now, and they're not up to where they should be. That is why they're bringing everything forward. Right? This small window of opportunity. And you can still hear it, but it's carrying that element of panic. You can hear it in the voice, you can see it on the face. And we've heard most world leaders saying the same things that Klaus Schwab said from the World Economic Forum. Like I said, go on there, you want to see the future, but it's like a fantasy. You know, in real life it can't be done that quick. But you know, they're doing the same things. And it's word for word, build back better. And we heard Boris, as I mentioned last time, he repeated that again at the G7. We've heard it from Hillary Clinton, Obama, all these lot, all over the world, all these bullshitters, and Big Ears Charles. So just a heads up that they were saying this way before the mystery virus appeared. Work that one out. They were saying this before the mystery virus appeared. Don't forget Agenda 21 about a pandemic, mystery virus. That was also appeared before the virus. You know, but you know, like I said, they were saying this way before the mystery virus appeared and did any kind of serious damage. So what were they on about? Building? What were they building back then? What were they talking about? Or were they saying, no, we're going to destroy it, then build it back better? Just look at the timeline and you'll see that things are not right. Now, to building something back means that something has to be destroyed, right? In this case, it's a whole human society. Not a house or a building. It's the whole human society and the way we do things. That's what they want to build back. But you can't just destroy it overnight. You know, when you're redeveloping an area town, you do it property by property. You don't go and flatten it all with bulldozers, do you? And then walk away from it. It's this thing is, they expect us all to change while they don't change. And it sounds good because we're already hundreds of years behind where we really should be. I mean, this is the 21st century, guys. Keep reminding yourself of that. We're supposed to be having, electronic sidewalks and things like that where you don't need cars and all kinds of stuff. Cars that don't even touch the floor, things like that. This was how it was envisioned, but it looks nothing like it was envisioned by scientists 60 years ago. I mean, they even drew, the artist's impressions of how somewhere like a city would look in the future. But it's nothing like it. We've gone backwards. So yeah, we're all up for a change. I am. I'm sure you are as well. But there's a problem, and it's made by those who are trying to forge this brave new world. Yes, my friends, they've been very reluctant, haven't they, to tell the masses what it is. They're good at saying, let's build it back better and do this, but they're not giving any information, and that is what's causing people to be a little bit suspicious. And then when they get suspicious, well, it's the old Jedi mind trick. You're a conspiracy theorist, you're not right in the head, you eccentric old bugger, go on. Stop talking nonsense, go on, sod off. You become a pariah, right? But, like I said, they are not telling, and that's why people are getting suspicious, I mean, what exactly does this global reset entail? What has to be destroyed before it can be rebuilt? What needs to be sacrificed? Them are the questions they won't answer. They're just telling you about, go on the WEF forum, you see what I mean? It's all about this and, climate change, and they're going to do all this and make it a clean world and that. None of it, you can ask experts, they just say, no, it cannot be done. It doesn't happen like that. And this nonsense in Britain, by 2030, we're all going to have electric cars. That's going to be a good one. That's less than 10 years away. It's mad. So anyway, they're not telling anything, but I'm going to name just I'm just name one thing that should suffice, all right? That needs to be sacrificed, that people won't accept, and it's being done now, and people can see it. And you know what that is, my friends? It's called freedom. That's what has to be sacrificed, and freedom is everything. Freedom is everything. Once you give that up, that's it. End game. You've had it. You're a slave the rest of your life. End of. And your children. And your children's children. And it'll be even worse for them. But although these architects of this new norm are keeping things under wraps, we can see it happening anyway in real time. So like what they're not telling us, we can see them doing it anyway. Under different guises. Hiding behind the vaccine and that. Mandatory, compulsory. Remember that? This is like real time, never-ending restrictions are warned about. And now the words, what I warned about ages ago, before the vaccine thing allegedly existed. Mandatory and compulsory. And as I mentioned last time, the National Health now are saying nurses and anybody who works for National Health have to be vaccinated. So there's a big stink kicking up there. The nurses in Texas have already done that about a week ago. There's a battle going on saying, no, you cannot force us to have vaccines. But they're doing the guilt trip. Well, if you're looking after old people, you have to do this, you have to get vaccinated. All right, I'll look for another job then. Bye. Hey, there's plenty of people out there who've already vaccinated, so I don't know why they're going on about all this crap. Pack your frigging job in. Go private. There's a lot of people want private nurses, private carers, and you'll earn a damn sight more money as well. But that is not the point. Mandatory and compulsory vaccines, that is illegal. They have no right to do that. I mean, I warned about this before these vaccines, like I said, allegedly existed, because it was a miracle of medical science, wasn't it, guys? I mean, fancy being able to patent a cure for a virus that didn't exist at the time, allegedly. I mean, how lucky was that? It's a good job little Billy Gates had his epiphany, otherwise we'd all be up the creek without a paddle, wouldn't we? And it's strange watching this strangeness as well happening in real time, isn't it? I get a bit, honestly, it does take me aback sometime, you can't believe it, that you're actually watching this stuff and people's behaviour. But likewise, it's even stranger watching past knowledge and warnings that were long since have been dissed by the blinkered masses and consigned to the conspiracy theory dustbin. They're all starting to surface, aren't they? They're coming back alive like ghosts, ready to haunt and expose people. They're not theories anymore, they're facts, and we can see them in real time. And there's also, don't forget, long buried truths that they thought they would never see the light of day are beginning to surface. So I'm going to start wrapping this up, guys, and just remember, look, I ask you to stay alert for revelations during June and July, just for now. Things that will trigger a response from the powers that be as they get exposed. And one that I think that will cause a tsunami of disruption that will allow them to cling to power for a little longer. Because the writing's on the wall, and I think most of them already know it. This is a desperate attempt at survival. This is why they're rushing things. This is why they do. But it's just, I'm suspicious. Why do they want to get so many people vaccinated before this window of opportunity? What is, it looks like there's a cap on it. I'm going to tell you what it is. There's a certain date I'm going to reveal to you. Not a date, but the rough time when this will be over proper. But I wonder as well why over 500 trillion has magically disappeared out the global monetary system without a trace. That was on TV the other day. They can't find it. It's gone. Sounds like the EU to me. They never know where the money goes. They get billions off each country every year, and nobody seems to know where it goes. But suddenly, trillions we're talking about, not 500 million, we're talking trillions. But then again, could this be another push into the digital currency? You know what I mean? Removing cash. Because cash and cash machines have been slowly disappearing over the past few years. And as we know, guys, their mantra, after all, is chaos out of order, or order out of chaos. In other words, they cause the chaos first, then bring order. But to bring order, certain things have to be sacrificed. And again, it's usually freedom. It's usually freedom. Now then, they've been causing chaos for almost 2 years now. But much to their chagrin, the masses have adapted to it. And that wasn't supposed to happen. Definitely was not supposed to happen, but it did. People have adapted to it pretty fast. I mean, by now they should be begging for basically anything. I know some people are, they'll give up anything just so they can go on holiday again because they're selfish little bastards, but that's not our problem. Karma will catch up with them. But could there be another reason why they keep bringing agendas forward and indeed revealing other agendas before they're ready to be revealed? It's like they've lost control. I mean, today in the British Gulag, the downtrodden masses were officially informed what we knew a couple of months ago. Another extension of restrictions. Nothing new there then. Now, as you know, I usually prefer and hope I'm wrong about most things. But in this case, I hope I'm right. Right? That's just for the record. You see, that being, this recent extension is going to be the last straw that brought the camel's back. Now, we're not seeing much of a throwback in the media. There's a few people complaining. But I reckon we'll have a better idea at the weekend when people start taking to the streets. And I know there are people already taking to the streets, but like I said, the media are ignoring it, like they're ignoring. So let's see if this one breaks the camel's back. Now look, if I'm wrong, then we're going to have to wait another 2 or 3 weeks till the end of this latest extension, when it comes to be extended again until August or September. Just like last year in the lead up to cancelling Christmas, just the same, almost exactly the same thing. And as we know, nobody needs to be a genius by now to spot the emerging pattern. It's there. And the so-called powers that be have everything to lose, but they also have everything to gain. So they won't have any qualms about causing massive disruption. And that's what they're doing now. And one of which, of course, is another major war. We keep hearing more saber rattle in America, China, Russia, China basically threatening everybody there is to threaten, blah de blah de blah. And, like once again, it's bad news because we have actually, this World War III, don't let anybody kid you. People go, oh, what a World War III and this, that, bollocks to it, right? You've been in a proxy World War III since all this bullshit began 2 years ago. And you know something, way before that, way back in the past, I always said that World War III would be a different kind of war. Nothing like the last one, World War II, with bullets and bombs. Because the ammunition this time around revolves around money and finance and politics. Or money, the lack of money, that plays a big part as well. And hearing that, during this mass human misery and suffering, we hear that 9 new billionaires have been freshly minted out of the COVIDs, out of Big Pharma. These are all connected to Big Pharma. And like I said, a lot of these politicians have got shares in all this. That's why they want to get all these jabs out. They don't care what effect it has on people. They just want to get, no, I've got to get so many before I get my little backhander. You know, people think I'm joking when I say that I've been witnessing the biggest heist of global wealth in human history to date. It's there. It's happening right now under our noses. There's a time when the money baggers can buy up failed businesses and property at really knockdown prices. Businesses will go first, and mortgage repos next, all the best houses and what have you. And it looks like they're unstoppable to most people. I can understand that because that's the way it does look. And while the peasants struggle through lack of money, the elites are living their life awry as usual. And it's frustrating and maddening, but patience is better than anger and stress, trust me. Because, my friends, these mysterious forces of nature I keep going on about, and indeed the cosmos, has to put on a kind of show for the blinkered masses, but it's got to show them how the mighty have fallen. You see, these new billionaires, it's all on paper. At the end of the day, they're still human creatures in suits, right? But these new, they will find if they've not done things right and it's been wrong and crooked and corrupted, like we keep hearing, then their status, billionaire status, is going to be short-lived. Especially if there's any dodgy deals that have been taking place, which of course is a given, as we know, because it's already been leaked out anyway. And then, like any criminal, their assets will be frozen and seized. It doesn't matter about the title or who they are. They've done this for far too long. People have had enough of hiding behind titles, false titles, fake titles, and hiding behind the money. At the end of the day, they're puny humans, and they can be got to. And their assets will be frozen, their assets will be seized. And I'm going to wrap this little tete up by touching on something else from a long time ago, right? And this, again, is another conspiracy theory, but it's a nice one. And that was about wealth distribution. And I know a lot of you out there have heard about this before, because it does not go away. And that is when the elites have been finally beaten and taken down, and all the money they've stolen is returned to the taxpayers' coffers. Now, nobody knows. For years we all talked about it. There are different ways that could do it. These are kind of financial experts. These are not conspiracy theories. These are people who said, if it did crash, there was a distribution of money, how would this money come back? And nobody knows, because not without causing suspicion or having to be truthful with the public, which I think is best. to say, yeah, start telling the truth about royalty, start telling the truth about these frigging bent presidents and all the rest of them and these billionaires and what they really get up to. It has to be exposed. But some of them things are, for understandable reasons, cannot be told to the public because it will upset. But, we can say enough to destroy them, right? But what thing is that everybody, some say there'd be payments made to everyone. So like you might wake up one day, you might find a couple $100,000 in your bank. But I don't buy that one, because not everybody deserves the money, and some people haven't even paid into the system, like migrants and things like that. This is just for taxpayers. But what I've been wondering is if that UBI has got something to do with it. Now remember me telling you that it's called Universal Basic Income. This is part of the global reset, where they pay you basically not to work. Like I said, we're in a simulation right now. They're doing it with furloughs, but now you can see this other word sneaking in, universal basic income, and it basically is what it says on the tin. They pay you not to work. But maybe like if they lose, then that universal basic income then could be taken over by the good guys and used to distribute payments, to distribute wealth amongst the poor, to wipe out poverty over a period of time. And then, that is what it would be intended to be used for anyway. It's just a theory, don't get it wrong, but we do know that they want to do this universal basic income. Even Zuckerberg at Facebook and all them Silicon Valley idiots, they're all causing for it. But it's communism basically, pay you not to work. And like I said, the furlough is a dry run what you're in now. It's a simulation, the pandemic and everything, ready for this global reset. And they're trying to find out how obedient people are. They're trying to find out a lot of things. And they're going mad for data again. They want COVID passports and all this. They want to know everything where everybody is. Okay, but there you go. Anyway, like I said, that's what we see now with this furlough. Basically, it's in order to establish the socialist communist society. And finally, another thing that I hope I'm not wrong about, and I'm probably not in this case, is that I would advise for people not to count the chickens yet for a quick end to this lockdown restrictions and so on. All the other shenanigans that we're seeing. Don't think it's going to be over, in another month like they're promising again. You see, basically, these elites control over all the money in the world for now. And they will use it to their advantage for now. And seeing as many of them will face life sentences, and some of them are scheduled for death sentences when this is over. That awaits quite a few of them, these right at the top of the tree. Then they will start getting desperate and they're going to try and throw another, something like a false flag, just to throw the world into turmoil. And they're already trying to do that in a way, but have you noticed it's not quite working? Everybody still seems to be staying afloat. And having said that, the forces who were taking them down from behind the scenes seem to have stopped quite a few things already that were supposed to happen. You say if you go and have a look at all their agendas and that, you find a lot of things have not actually happened. They've been put beyond reach, let's say. And you should also be noticing, which is more noticeable if you don't know what goes on behind the scenes, that an ordinary person can notice, is that some entities are becoming conspicuous by the sudden absence from the media. Because behind the scenes there's still a lot of high profile arrests going on. From politicians to people in show business, music industry, finance, banks. There's all kinds of arrests going on that you're not being talked about. And we are seeing a lot of people suddenly getting fired from show business as well. And it's obviously because there's stuff about to come out of them and everybody wants to distance themselves as much as they can. So I'm going to give you an educated guess here. I don't want to call it a prediction per se. But I'm thinking this whole takedown is going to last well into 2022. I know it's might piss you off and things like that. It pisses me off. But it's not going to be as bad as it was, so don't worry too much about it. So what I'm saying is that we might have to put up with a few more outrages yet, especially as things continue to be revealed. And, we're going to see these puppets really trying to stay in power by throwing a spanner in the works, just to save their skins, in a futile attempt to escape justice. But this is not human justice that I'm talking about. That can be escaped when you've got money. But it doesn't matter how much money you've got and how wealthy you are, or how big or great you think you are, you cannot escape karmic justice. And that's what's coming for them. So no matter what distractions and, media fear-mongering we're going to get bombarded with, just remember that they are the ones that are doomed. They're the ones that are panicking now. We become accustomed to this kind of stuff. And like I said, people are getting fed up. So you're seeing these two worlds collide where they're panicking and we're saying enough's enough. And they have to say, no, we've got to keep this going. And people are going to go, no, end of. It's not happening. You'll see this over the next few months, trust me. Okay, but they're doomed. They and their insane ideas. I mean, global reset indeed. Come on, give me a damn break. It's all pie in the sky. And more importantly, it's unworkable. I mean, do they really think they can reduce everybody to peasantry, then flaunt their wealth in public without getting robbed and strung up from the nearest lamppost? Well, they probably do, because they're not right in the head. They're clinically insane, so yeah, of course they think they can get away with it. They're insane, you know it, I know it, and so stop beating about the bush, just say it out loud to anybody. They're crazy. And I'm sure more people are beginning to wake up and see the same kind of deal going on. So forget crappy mind-numbing TV BS, the show that's unfolding before us now is going to be one to behold, my friends. Trust me, this is one to behold, not to fear. Meanwhile, I shall see you on the wind.